Oh,
Nice. That's a good start. Welcome to the Geek Wrestling Podcast. I am Jose Sands. I'm here with
it's me, Hollywood.
and
Marcus.
Big
and
Ralph.
we're here to talk about this week in wrestling, what could have been, what should have been, and what was. First, since we are a Florida-based podcast, we would like to say our condolences to the families that lost loved ones in the Parkland High School shooting that happened this week. Our prayers and thoughts go out to you. We cannot imagine what you're going through or what the world should be doing and the world, in general should be doing to help with this issue that is out there that needs to be remedied in some way. So our hearts go out to you.
Yeah, there's nothing really to be said except for it's sad, and we never hoped to hear or see that happen, but it did. So all we could do now is try to press forward the best we can.
Yep.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it happens more often than it should.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about some wrestling, try to get this in an upbeat fashion. So one of the major things that happened this week on Raw was that Seth Rollins, whose partner Jason Jordan recently got injured, is floating around anywhere without a WrestleMania match. So Seth Rollins decides to interject himself into the Fatal 4-Way match to see the last spot in the Elimination Chamber. In doing so, they made the main event of Raw as a Fatal 5-Way. In that Fatal 5-Way, both Rollins and Finn Balor pin... who'd they pin?
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, thank you. Bray Wyatt, to get... both hands are raised, and now we're having an extra person in the Elimination Chamber. Is this just to fit a place where... to fit Rollins somewhere so that he has something to do before Mania happens? I mean, why go for this? And how are they going to now do a Elimination Chamber? Are they going to have 5 chambers instead of 4? Are they going to have 3 people start instead of 2? I mean, what's going on here?
They're going to announce it as the first ever 7-man Elimination Chamber next to the first women's Elimination Chamber. I don't know. You're
just bringing that out, huh?
Yes.
I don't
because we're doing first ever years.
First of everything.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have to have Seth Rollins on a pay-per-view?
I mean he's one of your.
You don't have to.
I think you need to have him because he is right now a hot item.
Are you saying Seth Rollins is hot, Ralph? I'm not following you.
Yeah, of course.
You think CrossFit Jesus is amazing, huh?
I think CrossFit Jesus it's the man.
Is the man.
I mean, he's a hot commodity, but at the same time...
I like the way you worded that.
Yeah, because think about it. Like, if you want to build his stock, you want to make people want to see him more, leave him off the pay-per-view. He doesn't have to wrestle or be on every show that you have. That's what kind of makes NXT work, right? You don't see everybody every week. Same goes for him. You don't have to see him every pay-per-view or every show. So why compromise an already hectic match by throwing something else added into it? It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Because I think from what I heard, they had him planned with Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose going heel on him. Dean Ambrose unfortunately got hurt. Then they planned it with Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan got hurt, so they already had him planned in a match, so they needed to do something with him.
Okay. And this is their solution, is to add him to an already crowded elimination chamber?
It's lack of imagination.
Yeah, just take your time to build the story. Yeah. That's all you gotta do. Just throwing him in a match meaninglessly doesn't really do anything for him or us.
No, just cause more confusion on how they're going to do it. Like I said, is it going to be another chamber, another pod in there? Are they going to put 3 people to start? What is that?
And especially since like the whole time he's been going for the tag team, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're worthy of a contendership for the main title. there was no storyline as to why he should have been. I understand he's great and he used to be a champion, but given what he was doing before, I don't see the story. I don't see the path that leads him to the title.
So you don't think he'll be in the end? Are you thinking that now they're going to do a Rollins-Balor type feud? Because
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we started that when the Universal title was starting, and, Balor won. They've been teasing it back and forth, here and there where they're fighting each other. They always mention that this was, Finn won against Rollins to be the first ever Universal title champion. So I guess you could start a feud, and if so, will it be Balor Club against Shield? Which I don't mind that, and I think you just got to build Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson a little bit more to show them a little more dominated.
Or do you think they're too damaged already?
No, I think they could be. They could be. Would they lose to Revival this week?
Yeah,
I mean,
but that was. Yeah, they did, actually. Shadow Machine.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure that if you want to move it in that direction, you could. You could go there. But they just gotta build it.
Yeah, you need some serious repackaging.
Serious repackaging, but like you said, overhaul and really, really make them look dominant.
I mean, what they should have did, I think, is you have a storyline where Seth Rollins is like, hey, I'm not in a match, but I do want to be in a match. I'll wrestle any one of you guys and take your spot for the match, and then do it that way, maybe, but just add him that way, that you're burying Bray Wyatt even more than he's already been buried. It's like, oh, come on.
But do you really want to take someone's spot in the Elimination Chamber? Plus, if Finn Balor was already set to go, why would you take that away from him?
Yeah.
I didn't say take it away from Finn. Take it away from somebody else.
What are you saying? Take it away from Elias? Take away, you're not going to get Strowman and Roman out. Strowman and Roman.
You could take Roman out.
Take Cena out.
Oh, Cena, I would say take Cena out, but then that doesn't further his storyline where he's trying to get to Mania. He loses at the Chamber. How's he going to get there? He's going to go at the Undertaker. I have to say, Cena's doing little heelish things lately.
Yeah, but I don't want to see him in Undertaker, and I kind of don't care if he makes it to Mania at all, to be honest with you. But I'm not booking. I'm not signing the checks. So what do I know?
Okay. So another person who's in the chamber, which we talked about before, hey, I don't know what to tell you about that. You're not booking. I'm not booking. We'll see what happens. Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
We're not booking.
Yeah.
I just think that the storylines, I mean, I understand, barring injury, things would have went a different way, but I just...
You want him to be more creative in the last hours?
Be more creative. Do something. You already have a multi-man match. You both know how I feel about multi-man matches. It's lazy and just quick way to just throw people in pay-per-views and matches. I mean,
it's a good way for the champion it's a good way for the champion to lose the title and not lose face.
Yeah, but Lesnar's not in the match.
No, but I'm talking about in general, multi-man matches where the title's
for
up
the
for
women,
grab.
yeah. I hope Alexa doesn't lose it, but we'll see. But it's like, I've always felt that you put more people in the match to hide what's lacking in your story or lack of imagination or creativity in your story. That's the purpose of multi-man matches for me. I think that's where they happen mostly. And if you've watched WWE over the past 2 years, the only long-term booking that you know is going to happen is Lesnar and Reigns. Everything else has been short-term and pretty crappy, to be honest. So I don't know. I just feel that it could have did something more. I mean, what are you going to have? 2 Elimination Chamber matches, tag title match, and then Alexa versus Nia? Is that really your whole pay-per-view? Come on, man.
Asuka versus Nia.
I said Alexa versus Nia?
Yes,
Asuka versus Nia.
Yes.
How can I do that to the goddess?
We know you like Alexa, but she
I know.
can't be
Alexa and everything.
Not the champion.
Just like Strowman and everything, Alexa and everything. I know how
Let me look at her Instagram right now. Not that you mentioned that. Where's Alexa's Instagram?
Well, speaking of Alexa, out of curiosity, let me pose this to you. Alexa and Mickie James fought in a match this week against Absolution. Are we turning Alexa into a face? I mean, she did cut a kind of weird promo on Kurt Angle the week before about how, not being equal rights for women. Why is the women's title up in the Elimination Chamber and not the men's? She put a couple of points out there. I think the writers at that point put themselves in a corner because it really just sounded like she was just blaming Kurt for not doing his job. But then she gets in a tag match with Mickie James. It's kind of interesting if you think about it.
Is that a double-edged sword? Because she is such an effective heel, and she's one of those type of heels that really know how to be a heel. So
you're saying manipulation is what her game is at this point?
No, I'm thinking, do you take away one of your best heels, right? Turn her face, because I see her going the way of, say, an Edge, almost where she's so good at being what she is that the people start to turn her naturally. So they're like, do you give up one of your top heels to turn her face and then lose that heel spot? Because who else on the roster besides Absolution at this point can play the heel as good as she can?
Well, I mean, if you have Paige as the mouthpiece of Absolution, you can have a pretty good heel stable right there. I mean, you said besides. I mean, you have Nia that can be dominant. It looks like you're going to turn Sasha soon.
If Sasha went heel, I would not mind Alexa going face. And I think Nia is just something up, like, even like her little like character profile picture, like, she is such a beautiful woman, and I think people are starting to like her more than dislike her.
Who?
Nia.
Oh.
I don't understand how you keep Nia heel.
I don't know. Well, right now, people like Asuka better than Nia, so that's how you're going to keep her heel, just because of the opponent she's with. People are going to gravitate towards Asuka more than they're going to gravitate towards Nia in this rivalry. I think after that, if you want to turn her face, then you could, and then keep the Alexa as a heel. But I think if they ever take the belt off of Alexa, she has to take a vacation for a while, because it would hurt her character if she does anything else that's not in the title picture.
Or do you switch her over to Smackdown in a shake-up?
Then that's flip-flopping Alexa all over the place. I mean, you just switched her over. You just switched her and Charlotte over. Plus, I guess we do know Ronda Rousey will be in Raw, so if you need that, you can. I don't know. They got a lot of interesting things are happening.
And how do you feel about that, both of you, with Rousey going to Raw? Which pretty much...
That's their flagship show. It only makes sense.
Yeah, but it takes Charlotte versus Rousey off the table.
It does, but I don't think she's going to be doing that in Mania. I don't think for her first outing they're going to put her in a singles match against your top female talent. I think you need to build her up to that.
But then who do you put her against then?
Tag match.
Ronda? You do the tag match they're rumoring. Tag her with either
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, or Kurt Angle, Rock if he comes back, and have her feud with the people. With Stephanie, you already have that built in. Stephanie and Triple H. Of course, they're going to do something at Mania. It makes sense to have Triple H and her do that with Rousey. Ease her in,
They have to lose, too. They can't win that match.
Right, and Triple H and Stephanie can lose all they want. It's not going to hurt them at all.
Yeah.
So anybody else have anything else before I go on?
No.
So one of the things
Thumbs up.
Huh?
Thumbs up.
Are you going to talk every time I start talking? Because now who's trolling who here?
I don't know. Continue.
One of the men who is in the Elimination Chamber, Braun Strowman, had an interesting what could I say? Segment this week with Elias, who's the other gentleman in the Elimination Chamber, where he comes out pretending he is Elias at the top of the stage playing. They keep saying a bass, but it looked like a cello to me.
It's a bass cello.
It's a
It was
bass
a bass
cello.
cello. Yeah.
You know, as a guitar, and then smashes it over Elias. Is Braun Strowman, which was
he came
a
out
funny
with
segment.
a monster of guitars.
Yes, it was a funny segment. I can't say I enjoyed that piece of business right there. And then proceeds to like smash the bass cello or cello bass or whatever the heck it's called over Elias. Can Braun get away with anything and everybody still like him?
Yes.
Yeah.
And is he a face at this point? But yet not saying he's a face.
I don't think he needs to. You don't need to
Label him?
Label him as either face or heel. I think he's just like his own. If he does something bad, depends who he does it on, the people are gonna cheer for him. If he does something funny, the people are gonna cheer for him. He has been developing a charisma that people are drawn to.
Have you seen him and Alexa in a mixed match challenge? He shows a lot of personality.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the mixed match challenge, but I did see the little promos they cut, which was funny, just like the same ones they do with Bailey and Elias and Lana and Rusev. Those little things, those little vignettes that they're doing are actually entertaining. So I can't say anything.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the video of when it was Christmas of him dressed up as an elf. That was hilarious.
I mean, he was a rosebud, so
he was a rosebud.
He was a rosebud, yes.
And he was a fun-loving rosebud. So we think that pretty much Braun can get away with anything at this point, and everybody's still gonna love him. Almost. I mean, as long as he doesn't go the what was it, the Triple H route and go to a dead body and. Whatever that was. Was that Triple H or Kane? Or I don't remember who the hell it was, but it was somebody else freaky on a dead body. Huh?
He killed Kane, so he might take it over.
Yeah, you never know. So, for anybody who's unaware, Monday, Ric Flair announced the release of the WOOOOO Compromise, which is a contract of sexual consent. The product was
between two adults.
Yeah, the product was being sold for $50 for each contract. It was autographed by Flair himself. Even though it gained a lot of attention on social media, it has been pulled from the online store, and all of Flair's tweets promoting the contract since has been deleted. What do you guys think of Flair putting out a contract, the WOOOOO Compromise? And is he the Gene Simmons of wrestling, where he'll just promote anything for his brand? Because that was the funniest and most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I thought it was hilarious. I didn't take it in bad taste.
I didn't take it in bad taste either.
I thought it was Flair being Flair. I'm like, this is the funniest thing, and I was like, oh, I want to get one. But by the time I realized they had already taken it off. Go ahead, Hollywood.
Oh,
hello.
Hello.
We didn't. You kind of cut out a little, so I don't think we thought you were done talking.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, you just kind of just stopped for a second.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Where did I stop?
No, you finished, but it kind of was a weird stop, so we weren't sure.
It's the way you stopped, and we were just like, what?
Well, it's my imitation of Shatner.
You are the Shatner.
I have to do it like that.
Oh, man. I mean, I think it's a parody on what a lot of NBA players have before they have sexual relations with, anybody they determine to have sexual relations with. They make them sign a contract to say, hey, this wasn't rape. So I think it's a parody of that.
It's a gimmick. Yeah, it has to be. But do you think it was bad taste? I didn't think so. I thought it was a joke. But
I think it's just Flair being Flair.
Exactly. If you know his persona, you can't take that seriously. And if you do, it means that you've never ever seen him do any interviews or even met him in person.
He said he's had sex with 10,000 women.
10,000 women.
Or as Big Ralph would say, 10,000 women's.
Women's.
Do you think he was
It's
sitting
the
there?
women's.
Do you think he had like a little counter, and every time a woman came into his room, he'd go, woo, click, woo, click, woo, click.
I think so.
Well, apparently, if you listen to one of his promos, he said 3 or 4 women every day of his life.
I know.
Wow.
Dang.
Do you think he had them lined up and just went, woo, 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 woo? I don't know. And then he made him done this contract. I mean, what's the hell?
Let's keep it PG. Come on.
Yeah, but considering he's highly associated with WWE, such a public figure, especially after the ESPN 30 for 30, I mean, once WWE got wind of that, especially him being under a Legends contract, you knew they had to put the kibosh in that, like, instantly. They kind of let that stand.
Yeah, they took out a statement. I didn't really read it, but it sort of went like, he wasn't trying to do it in poor taste. He was just trying to, be funny.
Plus,
Yeah.
I think in the current light, with all these people coming out with rape allegations and this person did this to me and blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
It's
I
in poor
kind of,
taste, in a sense.
it's in that sense, yeah. In that regard, yeah. But I mean, it's Flair.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if you're a wrestling fan, you're just taking it as Flair being Flair. But if you're outside this bubble, or then you're looking at it as just a,
I mean,
a
he
poor
said he had
taste of,
relations with Halle Berry, so I mean, come on.
well, he's a lucky man. What can we say on that? I don't know.
Not too much.
So, why don't we jump to the tragedy that we call SmackDown and that mess that's going on over there?
Let's jump to what I like to call the copy and paste from Raw.
And why do we call it copy and paste? Because, well, we've got Shane McMahon. After Daniel, well, let me go back. Daniel Bryan announces after last week that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to be in a 3-way dance at Fastlane with AJ Styles for the title. Shane McMahon, not liking this, said, well, I'm going to have Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin fight, and they deserve, and whoever wins that match is going to be added to the Fatal 3-Way or the Triple Threat, and now it'll be a Fatal 4-Way. At the beginning of SmackDown, when they were about to have the match between Corbin and Ziggler, Owens and Zayn jump Corbin, which prevents them. Then they go and jump Ziggler, and which leads Shane McMahon to decide that if Corbin beats Owens, he's added to the title match, and if Ziggler beats Sami, he's going to the title match, which could make it a Fatal 5-Way. They both win their matches. They're now part of the Fastlane pay-per-view as a Fatal 5-Way. What the heck is going on here? Do we just like adding people to already established matches?
You know my opinion.
I know. You do not like multi-man matches.
I wasn't going to say that. I'm basing off what I said earlier. Like, I don't even have to talk on this point because you already know.
I don't know. I think that whoever was writing SmackDown at the beginning of SmackDown has moved over to Raw because Raw seems to be a little bit better than it had been. And now they're just, I don't know, they're just trucking along with SmackDown. I think maybe they need a couple more people to spice it up a little because the same people are fighting every time.
I think it's sabotage.
And that could be it. Maybe Vince or somebody. I mean, I'm assuming Vince wants the Raw to be the more focused show, and that's why they're putting Ronda Rousey on there. That's why they have these storylines. That's why they're developing their characters better. So they're just kind of pushing SmackDown to the side, which I think is bad and wrong because when I was watching, a long time, the people on SmackDown, man, you had Eddie Guerrero, you had Undertaker, you had Edge. Those were all SmackDown guys when they split the brands the first time. And that show was fun. Rey Mysterio was there. I mean,
it was a wrestling show.
It was a wrestling show, and they're kind of killing it. And they started off so hot, and then it just doesn't seem like they know where they're going with their storylines. You have that pending what's going on with Bryan and Shane. Now you have this 5-way Ziggler's in and out, which we'll discuss in a little bit on his deal. But, I mean, it just is a hot mess.
It's lazy, pathetic.
I find it boring.
It is. Like, I didn't even watch the last hour of Smackdown. I started, what did I do? I watched Black Lightning. So I'm just like, I don't, because it's predictable and it's just, it's boring. And I'm watching it just like, not because I've been watching wrestling for a long time, but I'm watching it just like, this is kind of stupid. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I think they're trying to get to WrestleMania and trying to figure out how to get to WrestleMania, get those matches, get that out of the way, and then shake up everything.
It's a much better way to do that, though.
I know, I agree.
Adding everybody to one match.
But this is what we're dealing with, and we're going to painstakingly go along with it and see where they're going to go with this. I mean, it looks like somebody's going to take the pinfall. We're all assuming AJ Styles is going to win because Nakamura Styles at WrestleMania is like gold. So we don't think he'll lose it. If he does lose it at Fastlane, then I can assume that he'll gain it back on a SmackDown right before Mania. I don't know. Or maybe another triple threat match between Nakamura and AJ and, I don't know, Kevin Owens or Dolph Ziggler or somebody.
See, if you had asked me, maybe 8 weeks ago, 8.5 weeks ago, this match is going to go down. Who do you think is going to take the pin? I would say Ziggler. Yeah. But last time they swerved us and they had Ziggler win the U.S. title. So it's going to be a tough one.
They're not going to make him world champion.
Well,
I don't think they'll make him lose. They'll make him the fall guy either.
Well, it was speculated that Dolph Ziggler was on the verge of walking out of WWE after the Royal Rumble, and one of the reasons why he relinquished the U.S. title, and now he is with a 2-year contract for $1.5 million a year to stay, and he has the ability to go and do other projects. His pitch, which he's been talking about in SmackDown, was that he wants a main event WrestleMania match. Is this a way to put him in the picture, maybe have him win the title, and put him in a 3-way at Mania so he has a main event match? Part of the stipulation of the contract that he signed, for the 2-year contract that he signed.
I mean, him being the champion, he will go to Mania, and then AJ can say, I want to cash my rematch clause at Mania and make it. I know Hollywood doesn't like it, but you would make it a triple threat with Nakamura.
And then go ahead.
No. And and then you're just taking away a match Nakamura AJ Styles, which I think would have been a very big draw.
He's never going to be the main event with Reigns and Lesnar in the card.
But he could be considered. Okay, well, you would consider it as a double main event if you have 2 titles going on. You know what I mean?
Nah, I'm taking CM Punk's philosophy, which has always been my philosophy. If you're the champion, you go on last. That's the real main event, no matter what they say. So, I mean, yeah, you have the WWE title, but are you the last match on the show? Are you closing it? No, because you know that's going to be Reigns and Lesnar. So, I mean, yeah, you can call it a double main event, but is it really, though? Is it really the match everybody's going to be talking about?
I don't know. We'll find out. We've got time. WrestleMania is around the corner. We got a month or so.
You never know. We might be talking about Cena versus The Undertaker.
It's true.
Nobody wants to see that either.
Well, you know what? If The Undertaker is doing better and he can go, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I like to see Undertaker. And then let him get...
then yeah.
Yeah,
dude, he had hip replacement surgery. Like, come on, how? What can he do?
Well, Cena can carry him during the match. We know he can do it.
Because it's Super Cena, he can carry anybody.
Yeah, I mean, Reigns couldn't carry him. We saw that.
No.
Roman Reigns. Oh man.
So, continuing with the tournament on 205 Live, the Cruiserweight tournament, to figure out who the new Cruiserweight champion is going to be. This week you had Mark Andrews come and defeat Akira Tozawa. Mark Andrews was part of the UK tournament and did very good, so it's interesting that he actually was the winner against Akira. And then you had Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese, which Gulak is a great character, so if you guys are not watching 205, that's your update. one of the other things that happened regarding 205 Live is that Lilo Rush was supposed to come up to the main roster doing the 205 tournament. That was put on hold. Nobody seems to know why, and instead they put up Buddy Murphy. Now, Buddy Murphy, as you know, was part of Blake and Murphy, tag team champions NXT, hasn't been doing much in NXT, and all of a sudden comes in and is now part of 205 Live. I know you guys don't watch, but I thought it was interesting that Buddy Murphy is now up. I don't know, is Buddy Murphy still with your girl, Alexa?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
No, well, looks like now he's main roster bound, so he'll be spending a little more time with her.
Maybe
unless
your
he
shot
goes to Smackdown.
No, it's 205 Live. It's part of Raw. So that means
No,
your slim shot that you had, that 1 in a million shot, Marcus.
Now it's
is
slim
gone.
to none.
It's
I don't
million
need,
and one shot.
I don't need a shot. I don't need any of that. I have the list. She's all I need.
You're saying that now because you're afraid she's going to listen to Liz. But if you know, when we're not recording, it's always a different thing.
She don't listen to this. She doesn't even like wrestling. She don't care.
Oh, there goes our one fan.
But she knows about Alexa. She knows about Meg, and she's just like, whatever. You are gonna come and stay with me. So I'm like, yeah, right. So
Off topic, actually, did you hear what happened with Meg recently?
now what happened to Meg?
The intruder that came into her house looking to kill her boyfriend or her husband, her boyfriend.
Oh,
Yeah, came in at like 3 o'clock in the morning with a gun, shot down the gun. They hid in the closet. He was roaming around the house. The police came. They called the cops. The police came. The guy was leaving. They shot the guy because he wouldn't put his gun down. So, kind of scary.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's not something I want to hear about.
No, I thought, well,
We thought you had
New
maybe
Mexico
heard about
man, the New Mexico man dead after breaking into YouTube star Kevin Free's house.
right. So, well, back to what we usually talk about on this podcast. I just, you know what? I meant to mention it to you before, and I kept forgetting. I talked to Ralph about it, but I keep forgetting to ask you if you heard. So, speaking of people entering, a club, there was talks about. There's a bad segue. Talks about Hulk Hogan maybe coming to New Japan and joining the Bullet Club.
Hollywood Hogan?
Hollywood Hogan, it was reported, could consider joining the Bullet Club as an honorary member, approaching last month's Wrestle Kingdom. However, discussions fell apart when Hogan demanded $750,000 to appear at the event.
I would not do that unless you want the Bullet Club to implode and fall apart, because Hogan kills companies. You don't want him to.
I think Hogan is too damaged at this point to really help in anything. I don't think his star power is as bright as it was at one point. I think Flair at this point is overpassed him. Huh?
He doesn't have any star power.
No, not anymore. I think there's too many scandals, too many
some
things.
Some star power, but he doesn't have enough star power to demand more money.
Yeah,
he can't go.
He should be grateful for what they offer him right now.
Right. I think that he just doesn't. His track record since WCW has not been good. He has had more than one scandal between his family, himself.
and
I think he's just too damaged. And like you said, I think that if you're going to talk star power at this point between him and Flair's got him beat like you wouldn't believe it at this point. Yeah. Even I'm not interested in Hulk Hogan coming back for a special thing in WWE, and Hogan was my guy back in the 80s.
Like, the only good thing he ever did after WCW was his WrestleMania moment with The Rock and Stone Cold in, what was it, the Silverdome, the Superdome. Yeah. They couldn't get that right.
Yeah,
but I just thought that was hilarious.
I guess his second run where he was like the Patriot or the Mr. America, and then where he fought The Rock at WrestleMania 19 and that whole nostalgia trip. I think that was a good run, and that's how we'll remember him, because everything else after that was just crap.
Yeah.
And it's not like I wouldn't have popped if I saw him come out in a Bullet Club shirt. Not at all.
I'll probably be like, what the hell were they thinking?
Yeah, and I hope that whoever is in charge of that group would thought the same thing. So actually, speaking of another New Japan star here, Will Ospreay recently appeared on Jericho's podcast where he talked about turning down an offer from WWE. Ospreay said that he prefers his current schedule over consistently traveling and working on odd days in the WWE. He stated, "As a kid, you would always want your WrestleMania. It's always been in the back of my mind. But as I come here, that's New Japan, and grow up more, I don't do very well traveling as it is. Those guys in WWE are wrestling on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. That would have killed me. Christmas for me is family. I love being with my family."
Let's take a wrestle with his wife.
Right, and so, I mean,
nowadays... Because his wife worked for New Japan, too.
Right, and nowadays you can make money being an independent wrestler. So he could make and have a lax schedule. The only thing that is the only benefit from going to WWE is the exposure to the fans that are kind of WWE fans only. And if he had that type of exposure and then went back to the indies, he would be amazing. He would be able to draw better. He would be able to have demand more money if in his independence, maybe even work even a lesser schedule than he's currently working, because he can demand more money. So that's the benefit of going to WWE, plus probably the money that he'll make doing that as well. But it's the exposure that these guys get, and then whatever they do with it as they leave WWE is the main thing.
Let's see what happens after Ricochet debuts, because I think Will Ospreay's popularity, what he will be able to draw, will be comparable to Ricochet. And I mean, we've seen what WWE has done with talent that's come from Japan and other areas of the world. Like, we've seen what they've done with Balor and Gallows and Anderson, Owens. Like, we've seen what they've done. So, but Ricochet is more of Will Ospreay's type of wrestler. So if Ricochet takes off in WWE, then we can assume that Ricochet will too. Well, what did I just say? If Ricochet takes off, we can assume that Ospreay. We can assume that Ospreay will. So, I mean, I reserve judgment to make any comments on what Ospreay should do until I see what Ricochet does do.
I can see your point on that, but even if he has very little exposure in WWE, he can always build himself as, former WWE talent, and that still will go a long way.
Or do you have to come to WWE? Because look at the Bullet Club, look at Omega, look at what they're doing without ever coming or being in WWE. I mean, they're killing it right now.
Again, that's the people who are watching wrestling. That's that bubble of the people who will watch everything. We're not talking about that other group, which is a majority of group who are just WWE people. So, I don't know the graphics. I don't know the percentage of people who are WWE people only, and ones that are all around people. But though, you know what I mean? That's why WWE is so ingrained and entrenched in the culture that nobody thinks of going somewhere else to watch wrestling, because that's the only thing you can find at the moment, and that's the thing that's always talked about. It's talked about on SportsCenter, it's talked about in Sports Illustrated, it's talked about in a lot of major magazines and a lot of major sporting television sporting things. So, we know Will Ospreay. We've seen his matches against Ricochet. Amazing matches. But the lay person, the person who is not the person who are the smart marks, they're not going to see it. They're not going to know who he is. So the little bit of exposure that he gets in WWE, whether he was on 205 Live or SmackDown or NXT, whatever little exposure he gets will go a long way for his career later on.
Those people should go away.
Okay. Come at him, everybody who's just WWE fans. Just come at him. Everybody. It'll be a super kick party with the king of super kicks.
I'm ready for you. And Big Ralph has my back. You have to get through him to go to me.
Right. Back. Way back.
if you can get past Big Ralph, then come at me. If
you can get past Big Ralph, that means you're taller than him, so he's just going to move to the side. So another signing, maybe or maybe not, that's allegedly happening is Rey Mysterio. Okay, we've been contemplating this. His deal with Impact went south. New Japan was an idea that's coming out now. It's expected for Rey to sign a part-time contract with WWE in 2019, probably when his New Japan contract is up. If not, he's going to get a deal that's similar to that of Jericho, where he'll be allowed to work on other projects when he isn't involved in a storyline. It's not clear if Mysterio will be allowed to work for any indie promotions, as he currently remains very active in the independent scene, but the possibilities for that to happen are very slim. On a related note, Rey's own son Dominic will likely be wrestling in a mask as well. He's been seen, his son Dominic, in pictures where he's covering majority of his face. So I think whatever deal they do with Rey Mysterio, no matter where he goes, it's probably Dominic will be involved as well, getting his foot in the door. Do you guys have any comment on Rey Mysterio coming back, maybe?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking wherever Rey goes, he's going to go there because his son can actually go there too to get experience, but if he's going to Japan...
He wants to open the doors for his son.
Yeah. I think WWE might be the best place for that if he wants to go the NXT route, but then again, there's something to be said about getting experience on the indies, learning your craft, honing your craft, and then coming to the big stage, quote unquote. But yeah, I think he has options in front of him.
I think the limited schedule for a person as old as Rey Mysterio at this point is really good. And like I said, he can make probably a good amount of money just doing independence for his star power.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a lot of money because he's been paid well, so I know he's saved up good. So I don't think money's an issue for him.
You think it's just exposure for his son, like you said.
Pretty much. And plus, if he loves wrestling that much, of course, he just wants to wrestle, so.
Right. Well, with all these great people getting signed or possibly getting signed, or the could-haves and the what-haves, recently, the WWE released Rich Swann, and they parted ways as of today, which would be February 15th. They wished him great on his future endeavors. If you're unaware of the reason why they let him go, Swann was arrested in 2017. In December, he was indefinitely suspended for the company for violating a zero-tolerance policy against domestic violence. Those charges were from his wife. They were dropped. They had a misunderstanding. But in the end, WWE sought to just release him instead of trying to deal with all that mess. Was this a big blow to the 205? But it doesn't matter to you two because you guys didn't even watch it. So never mind.
I don't think it was a blow anyway because, he hasn't been on TV in a few weeks.
And nobody
when
noticed.
He was on TV, he wasn't really used. So I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with Hollywood on that.
So I guess one of the last things I wanted to bring up as a topic was the fact that the pay-per-views, after a certain point, it's been told either after WrestleMania or after Backlash are not going to be brand specific, but they're going to be a culmination of both brands. And the idea is that they're going to also increase the pay-per-view hours to 4 hours for each pay-per-view and like 20 for WrestleMania.
Just too much.
Right. It seems like too much. The reason why they're doing this is because sales are low. That's another reason why people are not going to the live events as much as they used to. This is why Ronda Rousey is coming into the Elimination Chamber just to sign a contract for Raw, because they need the star power for people to want to go to the live events.
See, I say this, if you had a better storyline, a better storytelling, this wouldn't be happening.
Yep.
We should just put matches like the day before. It's like, oh, tomorrow is going to be Nia versus Bayley just because I want it that way. It's like, no, I'm not going to go and watch a match that I'm not invested in. I'm not going to pay good, hard-earned money for something that I'm like, I can just stay home. I'll watch it on TV.
Yep.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Hollywood?
You want my thoughts?
Yep.
I'm just copying what Sammy and Kevin are doing.
Yep.
You know? But if you really want my thought, I think the storylines are stupid. I think creative is horrible. I think they're doing nothing to make me actually want to get invested in the product, except for this podcast, because if it wasn't for this podcast, I probably wouldn't watch it at all. And Vince needs to give it up to Triple H, because right now, you have record-breaking financials, right? Good. I'm happy for you. You're making money. But that money is based off of TV deal with USA Network that's guaranteed money, plus all your advertisements, which is another guaranteed revenue stream. Nothing about your record-breaking financials comes to customer satisfaction. Meaning, go.
No, go ahead.
Meaning, you're not giving me a story I want to watch. You're not pushing the wrestlers people want pushed, and you basically have a boring product that's predictable, lackluster, and just straight up irritating. So, I mean, if it wasn't for this podcast, sad to say, I probably wouldn't watch WWE at all. I would just watch New Japan, because I do have their streaming service, and their stories are a lot more compelling to me than WWE. So, that's how I feel about it. And I don't have time to watch a 4-hour pay-per-view, dude. Like, seriously, you're giving me 3 hours on Monday, 3 hours on Tuesday with 205 Live, another hour
not on a Sunday. I don't have 4 hours to give you on a Sunday when I have to get ready for Monday morning.
Exactly. And nobody wants to get ready for Monday morning because, But, dude, no WWE. You can get work.
It says a lot when I am more interested in your NXT brand. And nothing against the NXT guys and the NXT girls. But it says a lot more when I'm more interested in watching NXT and the NXT takeovers than Raw, SmackDown, or now soon to be combined pay-per-views. Hopefully, by the time the combined pay-per-views come around, they'll have some storyline put in place. But as of right now, I'm actually not looking forward to the chaos that is Fastlane and its main event, or the chaos that is the Elimination Chamber. That's now 7 people. That's too much.
Wait, is it 2 pay-per-views a month? 1 per brand, or just 1 a month?
It's usually 2 pay-per-views a month.
All right, so that's
per brand. It all depends how the months fall, because sometimes you'll have like 1 pay-per-view. Like right now, we're in February, we're gonna have Elimination Chamber, and then in March you're gonna have Fastlane.
Next month, we have
2 separate brands, and then you have WrestleMania with it too. I think they could just keep it. They should keep it just 1 a month, and then like the 4, the big 4. You keep it, but then there's always that one like Money in the Bank, which would benefit if there was a Money Bank for both brands,
Yeah,
but
like how it used to be, like when and I keep going back to when Batista won the Money in the Bank, and he was able to decide if he wanted to go against the SmackDown champion, which I think was John Cena at that moment, or if he wanted to go against the Raw champion, which was Triple H, his fellow Evolution member.
Right. Or, they can keep that going, but yeah, they didn't, So it depends on storyline where they want to go with that. Which is, now, what we're doing...
Now that they're going to make it a combined, maybe Money in the Bank will be combined, and maybe they'll bring that back where the winner of the Money in the Bank will decide who he wants to challenge.
Right. That would be fine. I wouldn't mind that. But look, let's look at Royal Rumble right now. We've never heard if Asuka's actually going against the Raw Women's Champion. It's just assumed at this point because she's on Raw. Nobody has officially said, and Asuka has not officially said, I'm going after this championship. We're doing all these things, Elimination Chamber, this and that, and we really don't know if she's going to go after that particular championship.
Well, the thing is now, she's listening to Stephanie, where Stephanie's like, oh, you might want to hold off on your decision until after Elimination Chamber because Alexa might not be the champion. So I think they're just building it. And unfortunately, for me, I'm like, yeah, I would like to know now who she wants to challenge. I don't want to wait. There's no point in waiting. Just have Asuka say, doesn't matter. Or have her come out and say, doesn't matter who I want this title in particular. Doesn't matter who the champion is when I get to WrestleMania.
Well, that's what This Week in Wrestling. If anybody has any comments, I don't know. You guys laugh, but you have no way of segueing into this.
There was no way. That's why I did that on purpose.
Because I'm always not sure if we just lost you or you're done with your freaking talk.
How about Ralph?
Yeah. Both of you. I sit here going, I don't know if I lost either of them. Nobody talks. Here. I feel like I gotta talk.
But that's what makes the podcast fun.
Yeah,
we keep you on your toes.
You know what you need to do, man? You need to drink beer like I do during the podcast. It'll be a lot better.
Do you know how off the rails this would be if I drank? It takes my concentration to look and make sure I'm hitting the points that I wanted to hit. And now you guys want to add like inebriation to this.
I'm not
already
I'm not saying
volatile and just all over the place setting that I got going here. I got like four computers and different things looking at different notes that I wrote down of what I want to talk about.
Nah, man, Ralph, what's your drink of choice?
Whiskey.
Oi. And what about you, Mr. Chance?
I don't know.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring something random, give it to you, like, yo, drink this during the podcast, and then we'll just see what happens. We'll see where it goes. You can follow your points, your bullet points, but yeah.
Yeah. If I say the same bullet point 3 times, you know something's wrong.
That's okay, though.
Or if you start adding Braun Strowman into every match.
Yeah.
Tomas Men.
Welcome to the Geek.
You fall asleep?
That'd be that. Be like, Joe, hey, so what are we talking about this week? Well, every week, one of us picks a current or old school match for us to review. That match is the main event of the week. This week was Hollywood's pick. Hollywood, please grace us with the amazing match that you told us to watch this week.
Did you watch it, Ralph?
I watched it.
Okay. I picked CM Punk, the challenger, versus the ECW champion of the world, John Morrison, from
Johnny World,
Johnny Mundo,
Johnny Impact, John Hannigan, Johnny whatever you want to call him, or Boone the bounty hunter, the man with the many names,
the former lover of Melina,
Morrison Nitro, whatever you want to call him,
whatever. Yeah, so it was him versus CM Punk, September 1st, 2007, on the old WWE branded ECW show, which I used to watch.
I did too.
Every week. That's some good wrestling on that show.
I'll be honest with you guys. I used to watch it just for Kelly Kelly.
She was too skinny. She's way too skinny.
Just for the expose.
No, she's too skinny, man.
And then I stay for the
more
wrestling.
meat. Whatever. She's a professional.
Anyways.
All right.
Sorry
I took my
about
last
that.
sip of beer. No, that's all right. If you paid attention to that brand and the story between John Morrison and CM Punk, it was actually like a really good story. Benoit, as we know, didn't make it to Night of Champions, right? John Morrison was his replacement and ended up winning the ECW title. So then he got into a program with CM Punk, and it was the classic story of the babyface chasing the heel. He could never get a win over John Morrison. He had chance after chance after chance, and Armando Estrada, the GM of ECW, said, "Look, my dude, this is your last chance. If you don't beat John Morrison after this attempt, then you don't get any more chances." So each match in itself was great. John Morrison was still really young, and I think this was coming off his run with Joey Mercury. I'm not sure if he already had to run with the Miz as tag team champions, but as Eminem, okay, as Eminem, he was already established as a tag wrestler. Now he's going for the ECW title, carrying that title. He was just in his infancy in WWE, and I mean, the matches they had going back and forth each time were pretty epic, and each time you thought CM Punk had him, but Morrison would always squeak out that victory. So on the last shot, you're thinking, are they going to push CM Punk? Are they going to give him the win? Is John Morrison going to take it? It was one of those feelings that I would get as a little kid, where I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I didn't know who was going to win, who was going to lose, somebody was going to interfere. Like, you just didn't know. And it added to the story, because you always want that sense of mystery in wrestling, that sense of urgency, that sense of you don't know what's going to happen. And when CM Punk won after, like, a great match, I mean, Morrison pulled out all the stops. CM Punk is CM Punk. Like, he was good, not as good as he became, but he was still pretty good. But when he won, I was just like, wow, they really gave it to him on TV, prime time. And, I mean, it's not going to be a 5-star, one of the greatest matches of all time, but it's a match that really stuck with me. Even, it was 2018 now?
Yeah, so 10 years.
14, yeah. 10? No, 14. 14 years later.
You said 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Years.
11 years later.
Jesus.
11 years later. Sorry, it's the Cerveza.
Yeah, see, now if I was on it, I'd be all over the place just like that.
I can't math properly with the Cerveza, but you understand. So 11 years later, it's still a match that stuck with me. And, yeah, my dudes, like, what are your opinions on it?
Mr. Sant?
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah,
I agree with you all the way. Good storytelling. That's, even though it was a watered down version of ECW, because it was, they had very good stories going on at the time. I liked that brand. It was kind of like the NXT, just on the main channels.
Like the precursor to NXT.
Yeah, it was, limited roster, limited champion. Everything meant something. They were all trying to go for something. And I think I discussed this with you, Marcus. I said, if this is what Johnny Nitro, Johnny Morrison, Johnny Hennigan, Boone, whatever, Johnny Impact, Johnny whatever
everything.
The hell it is, Johnny Everything. If this is what Johnny Everything and CM Punk did at this point in their careers, if they were to do this again at where they're both at now, with Johnny Everything being everywhere else in the independents and CM Punk,
it would probably be a 5-star.
Oh, it would be totally different and even more amazing than this one. This was CM Punk getting the crowd behind him before he was the promo guy, before he did talking. He didn't do a lot of talking. He did a lot of wrestling at this point. And he told the story more in the ring than he did on the mic. And this was showing these two getting the crowd invested in that story and becoming. They were cheering. When CM Punk was getting ready to do the GTS, the crowd popped. Every time they went for a pin and the other guy went, got out of it, or got out of two, there was a pop. The crowd was so invested it made them better because they tried different things, they did more. And I really believe that if you took these two performers and put them in a program now against each other, that program would be much better than this one, even though this was amazing.
Agreed. I thought it was a great thumbs up. I thought it was a great match. I had forgotten. I had seen it back when it came out, when they aired it, and I had completely forgotten about it. I was watching it on the metro ride home, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. I almost missed. If it wasn't that I was the last exit of the metro, I think I would have lost my exit.
And it was only like a 10-minute, 10 to 12-minute match, right?
Something like that.
It wasn't long.
But it meant something, though.
No, it meant something. There were stakes involved. And the performers were doing everything they could to make sure that it was, sold, and they got everybody invested. Now,
older, I think that those kind of matches where it's like, oh, it's his last chance. After this, he will never go for it again. Usually, that person always ends up winning.
What was that?
The hell was that?
Oh, I don't know.
That was some tomfoolery.
There was some tomfoolery.
So, do you think this match would end up being Nakamura, Kenny Omega caliber if they were to do it right now?
I don't know. I mean, Johnny Everything, because that's what I'm going to call him now. Johnny Everything, has been doing it. Punk's been going to UFC. I think it would take Punk a little time to get back into that type of ring shape. But I think if you give it time, yes.
I think it could be on par with maybe Cena Punk.
I don't think Cena Punk is a great wrestling match. I think Cena Punk, because of the stakes that were involved at that point. Wait, which Cena Punk are we talking about? Are we talking? I'm thinking always when you say Cena Punk, I always go to Money in the Bank. Cena Punk.
No. I'm talking the one I picked.
The one you picked. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that caliber. Probably a little. I think it would surpass it a little bit more because you have different style than John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena can't wrestle.
John Cena has good psychology. It's not that he can't wrestle. He probably can do whatever he needs to. I just think his moveset is different from Punk's, different from John Hennigan's.
Not as ample.
Yeah, and if you put like the two people like those two in it, and they would do it, you would have a different dynamic altogether. So it's not about if it was better. It's just different.
To drop some big words between Johnny Everything and CM Punk, they have a cornucopia of moves.
Oh, jeez.
I had to drop the big words.
Yeah, cornucopia is a big word. I don't even think I could spell cornucopia.
Big Ralph drops the big words.
Yeah, that's a shirt. Big Ralph, big words. Big hands.
Big everything.
Big everything. Christ.
Alrighty then. On that note,
let us know your opinion on this. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We're under UGeekly, UGEEKLY. We're also part of the Unique Geek Network, which is also under our website, which is also under the same name of ugeekly.com. We're also on Podbean and Apple Podcasts, so please subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Tell us how much you like us. If you tell us, we'll read it on the air. Until next time, I am Jose Sands. I'm here with Hollywood Marcus and Big Ralph, and we're saying, talk to you next time.
Yo, download the podcast, like it, subscribe. We need more viewers, listeners, whatever you want to call it.
We do.
Share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends. Move it over.
This is a shameless plug. Listen to our stuff.
If you listen,
Shameless plug.
we're gonna get Big Ralph a shirt that says Big Ralph, big words, big everything.
I'll make you famous if you listen to me.
Oh, jeez.
And
I don't know what kind of deal you're making to make him famous. That sounds just very bad.
Bye.
Get us some money so I don't have a squeaky chair.
And if he doesn't make you famous, come at him.
Come at him.
Yeah. Come at
That's
me.
the next shirt. I'm Hollywood Marcus. Come at me.
I'm Ric Flair's illegitimate son. So
yeah. Come at me, and when you come at me, sign this woo compromising contract.
Oh man.